333. R.I.P.P. Don P. PhD. Yo. I said, R.I.P. TV. Tell the homie. Mob Deep Mondays, that's every day, thoughty. It's all for the community. That's what P showed me. We lost without the unity. Where the fuck is the OGs? R.I.P.P. God bless the real. Only for the righteous. The rest will go to hell. Flipping through the book of Revelation, figure it out. Transliterate the translation, do it yourself. It's the last days, life is a test and we in a cage. Concrete jungle, everyday struggle. Fuck the pain, I'm on some HNIC shit. Hegelian 3 shit. If you don't know what I mean, you was never G. Real shit, R.I.P. Yo, P, play that beat back, 333. Burn some weed, we repeat that. Shake me up a Tuka pack, break me off a 20 piece. I'm gone, never looking back. Y'all can't talk to me. R.I.P. TV, tell the homie. Mob Deep Mondays, that's every day, thoughty. It's all for the community. That's what P showed me. We lost without the unity. Where the fuck is the OGs? Like the weed, play some IMD for me. It's hell on earth for real, but y'all don't wanna see paper trail politics. All the shit was prophecy, strictly for the family. Peace to the prodigy. R.I.P.P. I sleep when it's time for me. Dope dreams bring the skizzy, pour the Hennessy. Searching for some inner peace, couple hundred G's. Deadly weapons and some weed just for you and me. R.I.P.P. I sleep when it's time for me. Dope dreams bring the skizzy, pour the Hennessy. Searching for some inner peace, couple hundred G's. Deadly weapons and some weed just for you and me. Yo.
What up? It is time for Beat Boutique. Actually, it's about 30 minutes late. As you can see, I am still in golf attire. I am fresh off the golf course. Was able to eat 2 pieces of pizza in about 3 minutes and hit go. So, I'm a little bit late. It's my fault. It's all good. During the summer, we might end up moving this to 9 because it's still fucking light outside. I didn't even realize it was this late. But I'm here. Sam, what up? Chris, what up, man? Who knows if anybody's even going to show up for today's episode because I'm the asshole who just decided to show up a half hour late and not let anybody know that I was going to be late. But I digress because I am here. So, what up, everybody? I'm a little bit tired. It's a little sunny out there. Hold on. I got no lighters on me to work. I'll be right back. Nice. Got one on deck. So what's good, everybody? What y'all been working on this week? Summertime is officially here. It's in the 80s. New York has fully opened itself back up. So I imagine if this liberal-ass state is opened itself back up, then the rest of the world has opened itself back up also. Kal-El, what up? So, does it rain a lot in New York? No, it does not, especially this year. It is not raining at all. Dank, what up, homie? And Dank knows what happens when it doesn't rain. It means I gotta water all my fucking plants twice a day, minimum. What's good, what's good, what's good? It is, well, it was just 1:33. I am me. You are you. Rigo, what's good, G's? And, I'm fresh off the golf course. A little bit late. Not in my proper mob attire. But I am here. So, if you guys been working on anything, go ahead and send them to the email. Let's check them out and see if we can make whatever it is you've been working on this past week any better. If not, by 9 o'clock, we're going to jump into a behind the mix session. Should be a fun one because I was victorious today on the golf course, which is always a good thing. It puts you in a better mood. So, I need to smoke this victory blunt. I think, Dank, I think going from 6 blunts during a round of golf down to 3 really helped me out today. I think 6 might be a bit much. Possibly a bit much. 3 seemed to be a pretty solid number. So, what's everybody working? Is anybody even working on any music? I haven't been working on anything. Well, I have been, but the things that I'm working on, I cannot play for you right now. So, it's not like I have been actively making beats or even mixing beats with Billy Lyons right now. Man, this fucking... Yo, Dank, you ever had Centrique? This shit is dope, man. I'm gonna have to type that out for you so you know what the fuck I just said. Yo, you ever had that strain, homie? This shit is literally like smoking flowers. It's like... It's pretty fucking good, yo. I am golfed out today. Look how dark my fucking arms are getting already. Jesus. Stems, what up, man? That's what happens when you play golf. You're typically going to be just getting brutalized by the sun for 4 to 5 hours, depending on how good you are. I play twice a week. So, I had about 10 hours of sunlight on the top of my arms this week. Look how fucking dark they are versus the bottom. Like a whole different human. That is hilarious. Yeah, Dank, this Centrique, man, this is like literally like smoking a bouquet of flowers. It is like the flavor profile on this. And that's not something I usually talk about with smoking weed because I smoke blunts. So a lot of the floral notes and flavor overtones and shit are kind of masked by the tobacco leaf and the paper. So if it's poking out through all of this, very, very, very heavy flavor nodes in this one. Yeah, no, this one is this is a good one. Hey, yo, Seth. Seth. It's not Seth. Chris. Where my miniature Hegelian skate deck at, man? I want one. I'll pay for it. I don't want nothing for free. But I want one. So let me ask you guys a question, since it's just looks like it's just going to be us tonight. And I knew summertime was going to be like this. And I don't care. We're rocking. I don't care if it's just me and nobody. I'm still going to do this. Which is also why I've decided to do Behind the Mix after these Beat Boutique sessions and not tell anybody about them. So it's basically just us. I'm just dropping knowledge to you guys. So, what song do you guys want to do tonight? I'll leave it up to you. I mean, eventually we'll run out of songs. There's only so many of them. We've done 2. What's the next one you guys want to do? I guess I could go check the post on YouTube to see if anybody actually commented to tell me which one they wanted me to do next. That's what happens when I play golf. See, significant portion of my day has been blocked out with me smoking blunts and walking around in the woods. The funniest shit, every time I play golf, There's never a time when I play that I don't think of P going and playing golf with me. Because it was unannounced and completely unexpected. And I was just like, wait a minute, you're playing golf today? Alright, let's do this then. Let's see. Any other anecdotes about the album that you can share? Matthew Watkins, just watch my fucking YouTube channel, dude. You will get all the anecdotes. Michael Griffin. Thanks, homie. Too Fast for Death. You are correct. The Dark Side of the Force. What a name. Finally, he became a fully conscious rapper as he said it was time to, and he did. You're goddamn right he did. So, you guys know that if you've ever commented on any video on YouTube, I'm going to respond. It might take me a while, but I will get to it. I promise you. I try to respond to everybody. Literally everybody. Yes, Debs. I'm excited about next week. Because we're finally going to get a new theme song. We're going to get at least one of them out of this contest next week. And since it was free to enter, I guarantee there's going to be some more entries. Because I know sometimes people can't and just don't want to buy that lottery ticket and try to win. Yeah, last week's wasn't very fun. I didn't have a lot of good energy, but I did it anyway. You know, I'm not one of those people. There's not a character that I create when I do this. This is just me. If I'm in a bad mood, you're gonna know it. If I got a headache, you guys are gonna know it. I don't hide any of that shit. Well, Stebbs, you got all week for the new theme song. Theme song battle is next Thursday at 8. Yeah, I think I said it to you already, homie. If not, just hit me and I'll resend it to you. It's free to enter this week or this month, so just let me know and I'll send you the samples that we're using. Chronic, what up, homie? I knew somebody had something for me to fucking do. Somebody had something. What am I even looking for right now? Oh, that's hilarious. I got one comment on the post on the YouTube page about what song to do next. Hey, Rigo. Thank you for commenting, homie. Rigo says Spiritual War. Stem says Broken Rappers. Which one we going to do, people? Yeah, Stems, I sent it out to everybody already. So just let me know if the link is dead or not. It should still be active. And if it's dead, I'll just resend it to you. But you should be good, homie. Nah, it's all good, man. I sent it out to everybody who's already entered any Beat Boutique contest, any beat battle. I just sent it out to everybody, and I didn't even tell them. Because I do dumb shit like that. I assume a lot of the time that people are in my brain and that they can hear the things that I think. So sometimes I don't say the shit that I should be saying, if that makes any sense. I do know that our defending champion will not be joining us this evening. Andrew is busy. He let me know that he won't make it tonight, but he is preparing his work for next week for the theme song battle because now he's a defending champ. And he said he feels a little bit of pressure to deliver, and you're goddamn right there's some pressure to deliver. Welcome to the music industry, homie. You did something cool, now do it again. That's just the way the game is, geez. And Andrew, if you are watching this, or you do, I will get to your beat battle. I will mix that beat whenever I get to it, dude. I'm a little bit busy right now. I have some things I have to do. I have some things that I have to accomplish mix-wise before that I can do any vanity projects or anything that I want to do myself. And that's good, though, because when... You guys should know, it's me. If I'm not mixing live on YouTube, then I'm doing something that matters. So, yeah. Yo, this shit is dope, man. I really appreciate anybody that comes through and participates in Beat Boutique. I'm really doing it so I can try to, give back a little bit to anybody that helps me hold it down for P. And most of you guys make music. So, I figured this is a way that I could help by just giving you live feedback on your stuff. This shit is so fucking cool because the regulars on Beat Boutique, there's like 20 to 30 of us that come in here. You guys are from all over the fucking map. Not just musically. Like literally all over the place. Andrew's from Germany. We got people from fucking Hungary, Amsterdam, Massachusetts, Cali, Texas, Chronic, I didn't forget. Dank, you're in Michigan, are you not? Am I right? It's Michigan? I might be wrong. Kal-El from the UK. Rigo from Cali. What part of Cali, Rigo? Cali's too goddamn big to just call it Cali. Sam. Oh. Sam, I don't remember where you're from, dude. Anyway, the whole fucking point is not how many places I remember where people are from. The point is... Dank from Greece? Boy, I was way the fuck off. Why did I think Michigan? Because weed's legal in Michigan. That's why I thought. Thought you were up there growing weed. I don't know why the fuck I thought that shit. He's from Greece. Damn, I was way off. That is hilarious. That's awesome. Fucking dope. That's even better. Fuck Michigan then. We got Greece in the building. The whole point of this is the reach of this. What we're doing is there's a lot of different countries being represented. Jesus fucking Christ. A lot of countries being represented in the 333. And then I just want to say thank you. I think that shit is fucking awesome. Man, I struggled to get that out, homie. Jesus, Lord have mercy. What is going on today? Alright, somebody sent me something. Can I play something? No, Stem's just downloaded something. God damn it. Yeah, it looks like we're just going to hang out until I pick a song from Hegelian to do. I'm not much of a traveler. It's not really like a bucket list thing for me to go to too many different places. I've kind of been to the places I wanted to go already. But I do want to go to Greece. All those white buildings with like the blue, all that blue and white, that shit looks cool as fuck. And it's amazing to me that it's also always pristinely white. Was that Santorini? If I'm not, I think that's Santorini. I might be. Fuck, I just called Michigan, Greece, Michigan, so who fucking knows? I might be way off. Ed, what up, homie? I am pontificating here about absolutely nothing while I smoke this blunt and wait for people to send me music to work, to listen to, and help them with, or kind of wait until 9 o'clock to get started with this behind the mix. Yeah, that's what I thought. That Santorini, that shit is beautiful, dude. Really, really want to go there. I don't like goat cheese and olives, though, so I don't know what the fuck I would eat. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm just fucking with you, dude. But I don't like either of those things, so... I'm too Sicilian to eat the Greek diet. Yeah, Ed, they don't let you know. You don't get notifications if you subscribe, if you get notifications. They don't really tell you. So you just kind of go with the fact that Thursdays at 8 is Beat Boutique. RIP TV Saturday at midnight. Deep Mondays, Monday at 9. Gray Matters Tuesday at 8. And then any live mixing session, I just kind of do whenever. So as far as like the main shows, they're always at the same time, same day. And I do that because YouTube does not notify you whenever you want to be notified. Even when the channels that I'm subscribed to, it doesn't notify me when somebody's live. I actually have to see it live and be like, oh shit, they're live right now. Like when Billy Lyons goes live to make beats, I have no fucking clue. It doesn't tell me that he's going live. It just, I see it. And I'm just like, oh, he's live right now. Let me go check on and see what he's working on. So it's weird like that, man. I'm doing the best I can to be as consistent as possible, so it's always the same days. Which is also, Hobie, why during the week everything starts at like 8 o'clock. Mob Deep Mondays is at 9. That's the latest thing I do during the week. Everything else is at 8. And then, you know, Saturdays is at midnight, but that's a whole different story. Send me things to listen to. So, Dag, let me ask you something, Obi. How do you say that in Greece? Gyro, Eero. I'm fucking white and from the mountains of West Virginia. There's no way in the world I would ever pronounce that properly. It's not even, we're not even going to kid ourselves like this country accent is going to get all those letters out right. That's 3 vowels in a row. The fuck am I supposed to do with that? Eero. Alright, see, I'm not a completely uncultured swine. I mean, you know, I know it's funny and I laugh when we do all this shit, but I really am trying to absorb the knowledge and get shit right. So when I ask questions like that about where people are from and things like that, dude, I'm just trying to fucking... I'm just trying to fucking learn. You know, I just want to know. It may come out funny because I'm not PC in any way whatsoever and I don't sugarcoat things, so I'm just going to straight up fucking ask you. Alright, Dag, here's a good example. I played golf on Tuesday. I got paired with 2 Asians, 2 younger kids. They had to be in their mid-20s. I didn't know where they were from, and this wasn't a racial thing at all. I wanted to know what kind of golf we were about to play because each ethnicity kind of approaches the game differently. So I just straight up asked them. I was just like, yo, homie, where y'all from? And they're like, what do you mean? I was just like, what ethnicity are you? And they're like, I don't understand that word. I'm like, because I'm too white and country for you that word to come out properly. I was like, what are you, South Korean? Japanese? Like, what are you? And they ended up being Chinese. It was the first time I ever played with Chinese golfers. But, yo, they got so pissed at me for asking them. Yo, they didn't talk to me the rest of the round. They literally just kept leaving me. And I had to walk by myself. I was just like, yo, I just wanted to know. I even told them I just want to know because South Koreans play golf a certain way, and so do Japanese people. So I kind of wanted to know what we were in for. And they did not like that shit at all, man. Now, it doesn't help that I am just a white dude asking them that, so it does probably come off as some... If you're defensive, you're going to think that I'm racist somehow because, you know, people think that everything is racist at this point in life. I mean, probably. Would they take it the same way if somebody was, like, from Guatemala and you called them Mexican? Because people get pissed if you call them Mexican. I mean, I'm Sicilian, but I don't get mad if somebody calls me Italian when they see my last name. I just tell them, oh, no, I'm Sicilian. It's different, but same fucking thing. I'm not going to get angry. Alright, Stems, thank you for sending me something to play so I don't have to sit here and keep talking about all this. But I will. If you guys have ever seen any, which I don't do right now, I'll probably wait until winter to start doing it again. But if you've ever seen an episode of Dower Hour, you know that I will sit here and smoke blunts and talk about absolutely nothing for 2 straight fucking hours if I have to. Alright, Stem says... I got one. I don't know why it's named like that either, dude.
Shit, I'm going through it. Shit, y'all going through it. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Yeah. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. I took a step back and thank God for giving me life. Cause they ain't had to give me a hand to give me advice. He could've kept me in the dark, but he gave me the light. Now it's time to do his work, yeah, I'm paying my price. It made me think about the dumb shit I done did in the past. My OG made me choose a belt and start whipping my ass. She was out working hard and I was missing from class. I was selling loud, but she ain't with my stash. Mama, I'ma make you proud, even if it's the last thing I do. I gotta stay true and stick to my path. I was never one of them niggas who stand on the path of simple mathematics, how a nigga get to the cash. How the fuck I make it this far? There's something you ask. I stay in the press, even though I stay under pressure. Man in the heavens, continue to sharpen my weapon, learning my lessons. I guess that's why niggas be stressing. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Yeah. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings. Damn, a nigga stressing, but I still thank God for my blessings.
Yo, that beat is fire, dude. That beat is fucking fire. That shit is dope. So, yeah, that beat is fucking fire, dude. Like, for real. That one's ill. Chris, I do agree. That beat is crazy. So, here we go. Let's wind it up and let it go. If you're going to have delays, especially ones that ping more than once, what you have to make sure is you're going to have to go through and automate your delays. You might actually have to use a couple different ones, because there are going to be certain phrases where it's going to be able to ping twice before your next actual main phrase comes in, and there are going to be some where there's only enough space for it to ping once. And what's happening here is there are places in the hook where that second ping and third distant ping are trying to happen, and the vocals are coming back in, and they're literally just fighting each other, and it's jumbled. I know you said that you're going to mix it again, so just take all these as this is things that need to be done. So I'm all for the delay, but you can't have them overlap like that. So don't be afraid to use, you see my mix setups. Put a delay on a bus, and then put another one on a bus, and then put another one on a bus, and you can use different delays. So that way you don't have to maybe try to automate within a plugin itself, which isn't usually that easy. So you can set up 2 or 3 different delays. Now, the amateur way is going to have a delay and a reverb and an EQ and blah, 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 like a delay and a reverb on each track. Well, you don't need to do that. It's eating up too much processing power and DSP space. So you throw it on an aux bus, and then you just send that to that aux bus. So what you can do is you can automate the send level so that you won't actually be able to hear the second and third ping. They'll actually be buried. So that way they don't overlap each other. Now, another way that you can combat that if you do want 2 and 3 pings or multiple pings is pan those delays and have them moving. So instead of having it just center or hard left and right, which is going to create the phantom center, instead of having it dead in the center right behind where the main vocals are, you can move them, tuck them in, and have them somewhere, 60, 50, 40, I don't fucking know, whatever feels comfortable versus where things are spaced out in the beat. And you can move them out so that when they do ping, that they're out here in, they're out here in the listening spectrum and not center where the main vocals are coming in again. And then when you do that, if you really want to make it feel like it's moving, is you would also automate the send as you're automating the pan, so that when they ping, not only do they hit out here, but the second ping sounds like it's moved farther away from you. And you do that by the volume and send level. It's going to sound like not only is it moving sideways, but it's also moving farther away. A, you clear up the middle. B, it sounds fucking cool. And C, you are also utilizing expert levels tools in order to create the third and fourth dimension. You are now creating time and space. Alright, so as far as the dynamics and whatnot, you already know, man, the hook dynamics are kind of right in the pocket. They may be a little hot, but they're kind of right in the pocket. It's a good spot to start off. And then when the verses come in, they're way low. So let's even those things out. And then this is another thing I want you to do. If you're going to use both layers of those vocals, because I can tell that they're doubled. The whole thing is doubled. Now, I don't know if he doubled it because that's his style, or if he doubled it because he wanted it to sound thicker and he doesn't understand that you can make it sound thicker when you mix it. But if you want to keep both of those, you're going to have to go through and edit the vocals and make sure that everything's on top of each other. Oh, even better. So you doubled it, right? So what you want to do, get rid of the double. Just get rid of the double, dude. Just one layer. Now, when you do your hooks, multiple layers. You do have to find a way to differentiate between them, but there's no point in doing doubles. That era of rap music is long gone. It just sound, even if you tighten them all the way up, there's just no point in doing it. Just get good at mixing just one layer of vocals, because essentially you start doubling and tripling and things like that is because you don't understand how to make it sound bigger and thicker. So you do that as the solution that you have at hand at that moment in time. Well, keep fucking with me, homie, and you will learn that you don't need to do that. Now, if your name is Eminem, you can layer your shit all you fucking want. Eminem does like 8 layers. He does multiple low layers just to beef things up. But the thing with Eminem is his timing is so ridiculously precise that it all sounds like it's dead on top of each other. Now, I only know one other artist that's like that, and that's Cash. Cash's doubles are literally just dead on top of the first take. It never fails. You really rarely have to move anything when you're editing his vocals. And if I would have to, or if I do have to, it's just because he got lazy and he missed one and we just don't want to do it again. I'd be like, you could fix that one. Because normally, even if he's off on one, he's going to do the whole fucking thing over again. Because I was just always preaching and programming into him, it just has to be perfect. Just make it as good as we possibly can make this. It's not easy doubling. It's not easy doubling because you have to have the song that you're performing, you have to have it down to a performance. Literally, you know exactly when you're going to emphasize certain words and notes and syllables and where you're going to breathe and everything. It is a performance so that when you do the double, you're just performing it again. You can't kind of just freestyle the performance of the take and then expect to nail it again. Your timing and everything's going to be wobbly and it's going to be off. And then you have to try to fix it within the editing process. And if there's some dynamic wobble on it, like say you've stressed different syllables or you kind of delivered it a little bit different on your double, you're not going to get it to match. And then you're going to sit there and fight it. So let's not worry about the doubles. Just don't do them. Instead, do what I always refer to as points of emphasis. And, just emphasize the things that mean the most in the song is what people would typically do. Now, what P would do, P always understood that during his takes, when he would start to run out of breath and have to take a breath, if you really pay attention to his music, like really pay attention as an engineer, not a fan or a producer, he always doubled places where he was taking breaths. Because to him, those were the places that sounded the weakest because he's running out of breath. So he would always double it in order to thicken things up. It wasn't emphasizing like a part of the song that needed it, like you needed 2 voices on it. It was a technique to make sure that dynamically it all came out the same level, because during the first 10 plus years of his recording career, it's not like you could go into Pro Tools and just edit the vocals real quick. There was no editing vocals. You just had to fucking nail it. So, and then if you didn't have a console that had flying faders that you could write automation where they move automatically, you'd have to move everything manually, so you're not trying to ride that vocal fader properly and get it as to sound like a good solid take naturally. Nearly impossible. So that's what I got for you on that one, homie. Joe Black, what up, Jeezy? So Joe Black, you did send me something last week that I did not play, so I'm gonna play it right now, homie, as I roll the fuck up.
Sipping Hennessy with my mind on some crime shit.
Good bass placement, homie. Good bass placement. You might want to push the kick a little bit more so that it does have a little bit of differentiation and doesn't get buried underneath of the bass. Maybe the top end of the kick, like the slap part, kind of shaping it up a little bit. But I really, really like excuse me, the breakdown. And then the quick snap back in. So until you get a rapper or an artist on that one in particular, you might want to find a couple more ways or create them to break down the beat a little bit more and then back in. You know, do some drum drops, bass drop, have the bass playing with just the drums, things like that, in order to have it not be so repetitive. Because until there is an artist on it, it is essentially just a loop. Even if you go all crazy with the beat, it's still just a 16 bar thing, and then 8 bars, and things of this nature. So until that, you know, typically you would usually want to wait until there's an artist on there so you know when you want to do drops. So it's like, oh, all right, they said something dope here, let's do a drop there. I don't wait for that shit. I go ahead and do drops in the beats already. I just feel it. You know, it's music, so it gives you a way to create some differentiation between like the second and third verse and the hooks and things like that, even though there's not an overabundance of elements within the production itself. Not like there needs to be. Sometimes less is way more, and sometimes more is just way too goddamn much. I'm the asshole who puts like 70 different things in a beat. Like, I'm one of those people. So simplicity has never been my strength in production. I think that's where Havoc's genius is loaded at, and the most is his ability to make something so simple not seem simple and not get old. You can listen to whatever Loop has for like an hour straight and never get tired of it. So yeah, dope. The community seems to approve, so good job, homie. The bass placement, excellent. Pretty much the exact same thing I would have done with it. You just got to barely be able to feel it. Yeah, now see, that's exactly would be the person to look to if you make beats of that style. Is Have. There's nobody that's ever been better at that. Chronic. Welcome to the Thunderdome. So, yo, are you just happy because it's like summertime or something? Like, what you been on these last couple weeks, G's? What you doing with yourself out here? This is not in a negative way whatsoever. It's been different. Last 2 weeks been different from you. It's a lighter touch. It could be psychedelics. Whatever it is, it's something, because your music had a very particular tone and style January through April. Now it's getting a little bit warm out. Yeah, something's different. Something's different. It's definitely brighter. Keep doing it, whatever it is. I fucks with it. I like this brighter side, this little lighter side. The piano rolls and everything on that one, fucking dope, dude. That one was cool. And that is, as a producer, outside of this face, there is no better compliment than somebody being like, yo, I want to use this. I mean, what? Unless the only other compliment they give you above that is, how much do you want for this? That's about it. You know. So, dope, dude, dope. I'm glad that the lull is behind you. Whatever music from that lull, put it together and put it as a project and put it out, and then that's it. You release that shit and move on to this new one. So, all that shit, homie. But yeah, this new direction, I'm all for it. It also feels very weather appropriate. You know, you were dark and grungier and a little bit grittier in the wintertime and spring. And now things have, I keep saying the word lightened. But yeah, Chronic, put it all together. Put it as a project. Name it whatever the fuck it is you were going through. Do some dope artwork that is a visual representation of whatever it is that you just conquered. And then put that shit out and never listen to it again. Move on to the next one. You know? That's what I would do. But then again, you're talking to a person who never sends anyone their beats and just plays them for themselves, because it's my own therapy. This is why it's good working with Billy Lyons, because if it's not just mine, then I am infinitely more motivated, because there's somebody else involved and there's something on the line, not just for me. If it's just mine altogether, my beat, it's weird. I'm one of those people where I might not care if anybody hears it, no matter how good it is. It's weird. It's fucking weird, man. It's weird being a producer. It's weird creating this art and then it's weird. It's fucking weird. Shout out to every single one of you who does this, because I've been doing it for a long time. And it's weird, man. It's such a scary thing to send a piece of yourself out to all these egotistical, megalomaniac, narcissistic individuals. And alright, I have a lesson to teach y'all when it comes to this. And I have seen this happen before. Well, more than one occasion. So you play beats for a rapper. And they fucking say they like 3 of them, and they're just like, oh my god, this shit is fucking incredible. Blah, 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 blah. Play them those same 3 beats the next day and see if they react the same. It'll never happen. Usually, when listening to beats, as odd as it may be, not oddly, fucking idiot. As odd as it may be, the mood and current temperament of the artist is inherently indicative of what beats they're going to gravitate to at that moment in time. So just because an artist turns down a beat that you sent them doesn't mean that they don't like it. It might just not fit what they're going through at that moment in time or what it is that they're trying to express. And you could play it again for them in a week and it might be perfect. It might be exactly what they were looking for. So it's weird to have somebody like not use something or not like it and you're going to be like, oh man, they don't fuck with it. Well, no. You can't. Don't block yourself out like that. That's not what they were looking for in order to express whatever it is they need to express at that given moment in time. So you, as a producer, basically, timing is everything. Unless you have an absolute undeniable smash, and then it doesn't fucking matter. But timing is everything. So I've seen Pete did it before. I've seen him pick out a few beats and the next, in 3 or 4 days be like, yo, go through them beats again that we went through. And then be like, these are all the ones that you liked. And him be like, I don't like any of these. It was just that moment in time that they liked them. Or another thing you have to realize is those might have just been the best out of that batch of beats. It might be just the best option at that given moment of time. So given a few times, some levity and things of that nature, it's not the best option anymore. So now it's just like, I don't like that one anymore. It was just the best of those 10 that they sent. It wasn't even that good in the first place. It was just better than the other ones. So you can't really take things too personal. And you have to realize emotional roller coasters, Billy Lines. These are emotional Blue Angels. Fuck a roller coaster. These motherfuckers is doing barrel rolls and shit. And I will also tell you another important lesson, and this is one I learned myself brutally. The worst that can happen is they don't like it and they don't want to use it. That's it. That's the worst. So you can sit there and be like, oh my God, they might not like it or this might not fit them or whatnot. You don't fucking know. Send them out. The worst that can happen is they don't use it. If they don't like it, they're not going to call you and be like, yo, you're trash. I'm never using your beats again. Don't fucking email me. Don't call me. I hate you. None of that will ever happen. And be like, I don't like this one. I want the next one. So, can't really take it that personal. All right. Time to take out your mirrors and your dollar bills. It's time to do a line. And we actually have a brand of narcotics that Billy Lines is peddling right now. This is that Daytona that he's peddling. Christopher, what up? Now, this is the first collaboration between Billy Lines and Andrew Bowd, a.k.a. Daytona Beats. Which, shit like this makes me excited because an unintended consequence of Beat Boutique is you guys are making music together, and that's fucking dope. So let's see what we got. D&B Puppies. Yo, shout out to little homie Stacks. Of course, it's fire. I mean, I expect nothing else from you except absolute heat. If you send me something that's not fire, I'm going to be pissed. So, Billy Lines, you know, on the last 7 fucking beats we've made together, how I will go through and spend an entire day just figuring out drops and ways to kind of make it build itself out of the pieces that are there. Do that. That shit's fucking fire, of course, but it could be better. And I'm not even talking about mix-wise, because your mixes are continuing to improve. We know this. But the way that one builds and whatnot, you can improve that one. Now, I'm only saying this because the goal is with you is to have it reach its potential. Where there's no fucking pats on the back here. You're Billy Lines, for fuck's sake. Like, the beats are disgusting. So we're only worrying about making it the best it could possibly be. You know this at this point. I just explain it to everybody else so they don't think that I'm being hard on you or being an asshole. I expect nothing but perfection and the best that things could possibly be at this point. So, that shit's fucking dope, man. I know you guys been working. You personally have been working on that one for a very long time, and Andrew definitely brought his own wave to it, which was dope, man. It was such a good idea to have him jump in on that one. So, yeah, just build it differently. Build it after the first verse and hook. Just, find ways to build it in a couple different ways so that it's not just the same. You know, I'll spend days figuring out drops and ways to build something. And you know, Billy, I will play every possible combination until I find the one that fits the best. I don't care how long it takes, how meticulous I have to be. That's the only way I can do it. And I will play every single possible combination until I get it right. Because when you get it right, you'll know it. You'll hear it instantly, be like, yep, that's it. That's the way it's supposed to be. And then you just move on to the next thing. So, yeah. But I also digress. Have Andrew do all that. You just move on to something else. Keep on creating building blocks and have somebody else construct them at the end. Because, yeah. Construction is more important for you. So, you put crossfades, whatever, two things are kind of overlapping each other. So you kind of put a crossfade so that they kind of like aren't so sharp into each other. It's, you know, when you're like editing things like a guitar riff or somewhere, and you put like a new piece in, you would crossfade it at the cut so that it's not so abrupt. But yeah, dude, you're fucking dope. And I think, you know, we're all fans of doing lines here at Beat Boutique. Now, the whole point of a crossfade is that there's no, like, click. So your waveform is going to be like this. If you put a different waveform beside it, there's no smooth part where it's a continual waveform. So where the one ends and the next one begins, there's going to be a break point. And when you let that play, it's going to be like a little jump or a click or something. What the crossfade does is lowers the ending of this one and this one and puts them together so that it's the same. It makes a smooth transition dynamically, and it will kind of hide that click and break right there. Now, once you advance yourself into editing waveforms and whatnot, you won't need to do crossfades. You'll understand how waveforms work and how they work across the y-axis, and you'll be able to edit them so that it is a smooth one line, and you won't even have to crossfade it. But that's like the most advanced editing that you could possibly do, to where you're essentially looking at numbers in the matrix and it doesn't even look like a waveform anymore. You actually know what it is. And I've been doing this for so long, I can tell you where S's, F's, T's, CH's, all the percussive transients, all the elongated sibilances, all of that shit. You can see them. Breath sounds, you can see it. You don't even have to hit play. So when I'm editing vocals, I don't even play it, people. I won't play it until I'm done with the whole verse, and then I'll just check it real quick. And I'll check it just once and make sure there's no weird clicks or pops. And there usually never is, but I'm not perfect. And then I'll just go get them and just fix it real quick. Be like, I fucked up right there. So, there are levels to the wave manipulation as far as editing a waveform and making it not sound like it was edited. When you reach the end of that journey, you'll be able to manipulate any waveform however you feel like it, and it won't click or pop or sound robotic or jumpy or choppy. You will have the entire toolbox at your disposal, and you'll know what to do, and you'll just do it. And then things become really quick. And that's the whole point. Mastery just allows you to be efficient. Allows you to avoid making mistakes, because all mistakes do is cost time. because then you have to go get rid of the mistake and then now take more time to try to go back to what you thought you fixed in the first place. So hilarious. It made me download that one. That's hilarious. In my iTunes. Clearly, I clicked things twice and I didn't mean to do that. Alright, so let me ask you guys something, because we really don't have a definitive answer yet. We already missed 9:33. What song you guys want to do next? So I'm about to open a session and get to rocking. Man, this Sid Treat got me high as shit. Yeah, what session you guys want to do right now? We've done Hunger Pangs. And we've done... What did we do last week? Oh, No Religion. No, we've only done 2. So, yeah, we're about to do Tyranny, fuck it. I feel I'm in a Tyranny mood. We're gonna do Tyranny because it was one of the early ones anyway. And there's something I want to show you that was specifically done within this session. It was the only time I did it on this one, but I have had to employ it on maybe the entire book of Heroin. No, we didn't do Good Fight yet. Trust me, I have to show you guys something on Good Fight that's only on Good Fight, and I would have remembered that one. So, alright. I'm going to hit play, we're going to listen to it, and then I'm going to do it.
No, this is not a Hollywood blockbuster. The planes crashing into these towers are real. And these buildings crashed to the ground, including one that wasn't hit by anything at all. The American population was terrorized, hypnotized, and traumatized by repetitive showings of the devastation, with the media repeating over and over that it was a terrorist attack.
Yeah. My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat and one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life, and I'ma live this shit. So what's up? Don't get your head bust up. You in my way, young brother. Get out my way, young brother, or I'ma run you down. You should've accepted my offer. Brush me off like it's nothing. I understand, no, it's okay. Run along now, you interrupting. The illest rap still active, more dope than all of my past shit. I was just a boy, I was only 19, but my mind be on some more next shit. Race don't matter, your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter. My confidence like armor. I know with all my being that I could do anything. I just work hard and I achieve it. Now watch me create money for the next 300 years, so my great grandkids will eat food off of these words I'm saying here. Yeah, I wrote this with you in mind. I'm so far ahead of my time, my body will never catch up to where my brain is at. Sometime I gotta slow down and pace myself. I'm going too much over your head. My school of thought like the Essenes, and some secrets are best kept sacred. It's one big religious war with these old books. Who's wrong or right? Who cares? Wake up, they diverting our attention to what's really going on right here, right now. Toxic food is causing cancer, you don't have to smoke. Toxic politicians, the system is rigged, but go ahead and vote. Race don't matter, your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter. You rich don't matter, you broke don't matter. The enemy, they threaten our liberties. All the other shit don't matter.
This time, vote like your whole world depended on it.
Alright, so you're about to see some motherfucking backflips. Yo, Chronic, you know what the funny thing is? I find that the best quality CD players are car CD players right now. You can still go get a really fucking dope ass car CD player and put it in your fucking car. That's about the only place. Yes, Kayla, you are correct. I do employ many sacred techniques. So,
No.
let's mute everything. While I roll this blunt, I'm going to hit play, and you're going to hear how this sounded. There's going to be some volume automation and shit, but this is how it sounded. Actually, this is how it sounded originally, and there was a different intro on it that P did before we found all the skits that we wanted to use. So this is what it actually sounded like, and it is significantly different.
Yeah. Like that up. Swing that around. You're being tested, man. God is testing us. You gonna pass this test? It's to be determined.
Yeah. My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat in one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life, and I'ma live this shit. So what's up? Don't get your head bust up. You in my way, young brother. Get out my way, young brother, or I'ma run you down. You should've accepted my offer. Brush me off like it's nothing. I understand, no, it's okay. Run along now, you interrupting. The illest rap still active. More dope than all of my past shit. I was just a boy, I was only 19, but my mind be on some more next shit. Race don't matter. Your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tier.
So, as you can see, very, very hollow. Not even in the same stratosphere. And this is what you can do if you know what you're capable of. And I did have to employ many tactics on this one in order to get it from this to where it was at. And we're about to take that journey right now. So, clearly, the first huge difference is in the beat itself. Now, shout out to Mono A Stereo on the beat, but it was just a 2-track. This is all I have, is this purple one right here. The drums did not exist. So this was it. It's funny because I still hadn't started using the MV2 yet. So, clearly, the first thing I had to do, we got to alter this one. We got to push some sacred frequencies. And we did. So, on the bass, 45 hertz. We all know it's going to be 33, 39, or 45. It was 45 on this one. And then also, it's going to be 528, the love frequency, always pushed. Since there was no snare originally, I ended up pushing it within the 2-track itself. And then whatever high end that I could have that was buried in that sample, had to try to pull out. The difference is subtle because this is only step 1. It's all subtleties. There'll never be a solution within one plugin and one move when you're trying to make such a dramatic alteration. It's going to be many layers to achieve it. So you have to think fourth dimensionally as a producer or the mixing engineer that you're going to have to, you're building it one piece at a time and know that it's only this one piece you're working on, that you thinking ahead in time that the other pieces will be there eventually, and you have to focus on this one. The whole answer is it within one plugin. It's going to take many things. So the next thing I brought in was a limiter so that I could push and compress things and then bring down the ceiling, because it was 528. Once I pushed this one compression wise, then I had to bring down the real high ends on it because they become real crunchy. Huge difference. Huge. Completely. Nah, Alien Street. I did not get a track out, and it's going to surprise you when we do these beat boutiques, these behind the mixes, just how many times I was stuck with the 2-track and just did some magic. So it is infinitely more difficult to work with a 2-track, but if you know what you're doing, you can make it happen. And since I've worked in nothing but rap music my entire 20-year career, I know what I'm doing with the 2-track. So, this limiter really, not only did it bring up and compress the top end, but bring up the low sounds, it really opened things up on this one. And the difference on this is night and day. I mean, now we're getting somewhere, but it's still very empty and hollow. It's just missing something. It's incredible that Pete wrote to that loop. And then that's what he was just like, yeah, we're going to use this. And I was just like, all right, I got to make this sound better, though, dude. So what's next in line that we employed on this one? Well, if you watched any of the other 2 episodes, you know that I will tell you that the filter on this Isotope Trash is fucking dope, because you can make extreme moves like this and it doesn't actually affect it as extreme as it looks visually. So it allows you to really dial in. So if from here to here is just a small alteration, then you can really get anywhere in between there. But if an alteration of this size equaled the same change, then it'd be harder for you to dial in. So that's why I like using this filter, because you can really, really dial in what you want to get out of it. And then I think that's all I used on this one was the filter. Clearly I had to scoop out something in the middle. Where are we at here? And I did this too. Hilarious. I added a side chain to it on the modulation. So the entire goal with all of this was for me to squash everything else and then scoop out this middle right here. And because those flutes that come in the background, secondary instrumentation, you guys know I'm huge on emphasizing that. So those flutes that come in the background, I really wanted to grab those and push those out so that you could hear them. And in order to do them, I couldn't grab them and push them out. I just had to bury everything else. And that was the whole point of this. And that's why on this one I also put an envelope triggered off of it, because I didn't want this entire thing to be affected. I only wanted it to be affected once a threshold was reached. Because in the middle, that part that I wanted dug out didn't happen all the time. So TVR, what up, G's? So I ended up putting an envelope onto this that's gated essentially. And it's just a matter of dialing in the threshold. But these are the things you gotta use a lot of tools to fuck with a 2-track. See, that's out of control to my ears. See, that flute right there, and then those bells all the way off to the right. By squashing everything else, I was able to actually emphasize those two things. And that's the whole goal for all of the work I was doing on this, was how do I get those two sounds and bring those up so this entire thing seems nice and round. And of course, it's probably not too much, and it wasn't. Negative 28 is usually the good starting point with me. But I had to add some reverb to it. So the whole point of me adding reverb on this one is because without the reverb, when the cymbals and the crashes hit within the sample, they're a little bit, I don't want to say distorted, because in the high end it's not distortion, but it's not smooth. It's, to me, it could be smoother. That's, reverb solves that entire problem. The last thing that I did within this loop itself was I did send some of it to the tape delay. How much? Actually a lot. And the reason that I did this is definitely to TVR, well, we are here to solve that shit, homie. Roll the fuck up. This is my favorite tape delay. See what it sounds like with it. See how the bass just started rocking more by just tape delaying it. Perfect. The tape delay did exactly what I needed it to. It bumped up the low end. It made it thicker while also utilizing intentional phasing by pushing the mids back a little bit through phasing and allowing the bottom end to sneak up underneath of it. All done by just a little bit of tape. Well, actually not a little bit. This is a lot of bit of tape delay. But effective tape delay. You're going to have to play with your flux, your flutter, and also your low pass so that you can figure out how much of that low end you're actually going to be delaying and not. These are the main factors on the tape delay when attempting to try to do what I did. But it worked. I mean, by doing this, I've now pushed those bells that I had pushed up a little bit before adding in tape delay. They're now a little bit more buried, but that's something that I'm willing to sacrifice in order to make that bass now bump like it is. And if you guys happen to be a fan of my mixing style, then you know that bass is going to knock. It's guaranteed. It's going to be smooth, but it is going to fucking bump. And I'm going to do whatever it takes until I can make that happen, because it's very important to me. So, it's still missing something though. Even all this work that I did. Now, mind you, these settings that I have gotten within these plugins wasn't like I just put and just... This is a lot of twisting and turning and knobs and button pushing in order to get things where I wanted them. Me going behind the mix makes it seem a lot simpler than it was. But there's a lot of me trying to figure out how in the fuck to get to where I'm at this point within the mix from where I started. There's a lot of work being like, how am I going to make this bigger? Like, how in the fuck can I make this sound like it's supposed to be on a Prodigy album and not like a mixtape joint? Because this loop did not sound so good starting out. It was very hollow and thin. Jerry Green, what up, G's? But I'm me, and this is what I do. And there's always a solution. So, at this time, I actually mixed the entire album at Mark the Beast, just now Mark. But at the time, it was Mark the Beast, producer of Hunger Pangs. I was mixing the Book of Revelation in his studio. So I came to him and I said, shout out to Chepe, because it was his, not idea, but his guidance on how to solve this problem, because he is a drummer. And I was playing it for him, and I was just like, I don't know how to, like, you know, beef this shit up, man. And he said, well, what the Beatles did, because Ringo wasn't a very good drummer, is after they were done recording the records, they bring in better drummers, and they would just record their drums over top of what Ringo did. And I was just like, all right, we're going to have to add some drums then. So I went to the studio at Mark's, and I'm like, yo, Mark, we're going to have to go through, and all of the drums on this loop, we're going to have to go and add one on top of each one. And he was just like, well, that shouldn't be so hard. I'm like, it's not. It's mono. It's his beats aren't quantized and like locked on a grid. We're going to have to go through one by one and do it. So we went through the kick library and had to find a kick that sounded like it fit there already. It had to sound like a live kick because it's, you know, it's kind of live instrumentation. It's a sample. So when layering drums over top of it, you kind of have to make it sound like it was already there. So I was like, we're going to make this simple. I don't want to do all of them because it's going to be impossible to layer the hi-hats and crashes without having flanging and the timing off. So we're going to make this a little bit simpler. I'll just boost the high end in the 2-track sample, and I'll push the hats and the cymbals and everything, the crashes up, and all we're going to do is we'll just do the kicks and the snares. So we went through and painstakingly, one by one. I know it doesn't look like it's one by one. Well, you can really tell here at the end. This second verse especially, oh my, every single one by one, you can see it. We had to go and place each one of them one at a time and make sure that it was properly landing. And no thump. You know we're going to use the API with a kick, that's for sure. And then it's funny that I used this one, this Kramer EQ. Who knows what I was thinking there. Add our EQ and secondary. I used 2 EQs, hilarious. Secondary EQ with the esoteric boost of 33 hertz, and then a giant boost at 86 so we could really make it thump. No reverb on this kick and no delay, so we can open those up. Still missing the snare, so when you add to the snare, add all the elements to the snare, reverb obviously, compression. This is the first time that I used the H-Comp, and from then on I always have used this. This is my favorite plugin compressor wise, especially on vocals. It's all about versatility to me. They all do the same thing. It's a matter of learning how to control what it does. This one I like the control on this one, so this is the one that I use. And you can see on Pete's vocals, I used it. I started to use this one pretty much exclusively after I'd used it on the snare. I was like, this shit is fucking dope, and I just have been running with it ever since. So on the snare, since I already added 528 into the loop, on the snare I added 419 and 819 so that they would wrap around. So every time that the snare hit those two frequencies, you get a boost right around that 528, and now we have created a trinity and a triangle within the sacred circle, and now we're really doing shit metaphysically. So let's add the fucking snare, and now we actually have a beat. Completely different from where we started, but now we got something to work with. So the best compliment that I got after doing this repair work is we played it for the producer Mono, and he didn't even know we added drums. When I showed it to him, he said, holy shit, I had no idea you did that. And that's when I knew that I put him at the right spot and picked the right ones, because that means it felt like it was already there. I didn't add anything. And he was just like, that's fucking dope. So on the Book of Heroin, I will tell you, I used this same tactic about fucking 12 times. Because for reasons that will be told on another day, it was a bunch of 2 tracks on that album. And shout out to my homie Chepe, the drummer, because we went to Subdecibel Sound and we recorded live drums over top of everything. But you can't be afraid to do that. You can't be afraid to layer over top of the drums that are in a sample. You can't just be like, well, there's drums in there, I'm just going to stick with them. If they're not thick enough, you got to layer over top of it. The trick is you have to be patient enough to realize that that sample is usually somebody live, and it's not going to be quantized. So when you try to just layer drums, a kick and a snare, over the grid, there's going to be some that are off, and that's why you don't like doing it. Well, at the very least, go to the ones that are off and move them and make sure that it's on. And it's totally worth it, because that whole empty, it's just a sample loop and somebody rapping over it, I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest with you. You can simply, by using the Beatles tactic, layer right over top of whatever is there without changing it and just beef it up and still make it sound like it was already there. It doesn't... If I wouldn't have told you that I did what we did in order to make this not sound like a boring loop, nobody would ever have known. They would have just been like, the producer did it, he just made the beat like that, that's what it is, it's just dope. And that wasn't the case at all. That was all the work that I did mixing and executive producing, because if I'm putting this album together, that was not good enough. It wasn't in comparison to how sonically everything else was coming out. There had to be something done. So start hunting for a solution, and the solution did present itself. And instead of that empty loop, we now have like some thump and some body and some sound, some dimension, some dynamics, for Christ's sakes. So, I mean, you know what that means it's time for. It would be time to
Up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat and one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life.
So clearly, I mean, you can see the fader jumping. Thank you, Alien. Yeah, I'm about to roll up. You already know. So, you can already see the fader jumping. So, if you go to the vocal automation, and for you Pro Tools user, question mark, it's a quick key. Learn your quick keys. You can do everything in Pro Tools with literally with one hand. So, you guys know I'm an advocate for writing vocal automation instead of just compressing to get it into the pocket. And you could tell in this one, I did a lot. Not too much. P would always stay within the pocket, relatively. And you see, things aren't too jumpy and too much. But TVR, you just have to do whatever it takes. You have to do whatever it takes, and whatever it took for this was to take the time to do it one by one. Whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. So, you guys are well aware from our last sessions and lessons that when you come up here to a breath sound, let's get rid of this.
Then sizz up, then sizz.
Yes, you can use a de-esser, which I do. But I don't want to rely on the de-esser and a plugin to do all of the work. I just want it to do a little bit. So what I would always do, I'll go in and scoop out those S's manually so that it's a little bit more controlled.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab.
That's without any de-esser even being used on it, and you can barely hear any sibilance issues. So now, when I do use a de-esser, a little bit, I'm not going to rely on that. I'm relying on myself, my skill set, my plan of execution. I'm not going to rely on just something to take care of it for me. I don't trust them enough. I trust me. So let's go to the de-esser though. It's funny that I was still using this EQ also.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat and one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life.
I mean, you can hear the headphone bleed in there. It's okay. You're not gonna hear it when the beat's playing. Nobody's releasing acapellas. It doesn't have to be absolutely flawlessly clean. Some artists like to turn the headphones as loud as they fucking can in the booth, and there's just nothing you can do about it. Sometimes you are going to get a little bit of headphone bleed. It's okay. It's not that big a deal. You're not going to hear it when everything is playing. Nobody fucking cares.
My confidence.
I used to care so much. I needed to be an absolutely clean everything. There's some people that really crank the headphones. There's nothing I can do about it. Especially if they have the headphone control in the booth. I literally can't do anything about it. So, Eventually, you learn to not even fight it at all. Just get it at a comfortable level to where it's not causing feedback and whatnot, and then just bury it in the fucking mix.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul.
All right, EQ employed. Somewhere between 210 and 310 is the body of vocals, so P's vocals are is extremely thick. Instead of shelving it off at like 90 like I would do now, to create a proper shelf, I just scooped out a little bit where the presence to kind of control his presence, because with P's vocals, it was always about controlling the presence. Somebody who has a deep voice, that's what it's all about. Not to make it too booming and too muddy and thick. Just control that presence. Don't eliminate it. That's weak. 635 on the frequency scale is the head of the snake. Per se, it is the head of Vitruvian Man within the sacred circle of sound. So we are aiming for the head chakra with that frequency. So I'm always going to add the head frequency within lead vocals. Do you see? Does it make sense on why you would choose to use that particular frequency within the lead vocals, aiming for the head chakra? It's science, people. I didn't come up with it. I just figured out how to use it. I would never claim that I came up with this. All this stuff is ancient knowledge that is spanned thousands of fucking years and civilizations at this point. I've just been fortunate enough to be around some really weird people. And have been in some situations where I've been able to try to figure it out freely. So shout out to those people who just let me do my thing and figure this shit out, because there was a lot of figuring out. And I really figured all of it out through trial and error, 100%. Just like I knew the math and I knew the numbers, but it was really like, how do you actually use it and make it work? Like, all right, I got the numbers, but like, what the fuck do I do with it? So, as I roll this blunt, I'll tell this story. I was mixing a Faith Evans record at Infamous Studios. Shout out to Faith, one of the coolest people ever. And it was myself and Nove and Hurricane Ike and Chi-Chi. I'm not sure if Scoogle was there, but he might have been. At minimum 3 interns / assistant engineers. And I'd been playing with frequencies and whatnot for months upon months and months at this point, trying to figure this shit out whenever the studio didn't have a session going on. And I was trying to figure it out with all these Faith layers on her vocals, on her, because there's so many layers that allow me to separate all the sacred frequencies into single things and try it that way. Because with rap vocals, you're not going to end up with 7 layers of vocals. So like, I didn't really know how to employ individual ones by themselves or anything like that. It didn't make any sense. But with her, there was enough layers of vocals that I could use all of them and then just start from there. So I was like, fuck it, this is the time. And I had the cast and crew cleaning channels on the Neve console. And when I got to the 7th layer and I put in the math and I hit enter, all of them at the exact same time stopped what they were doing and looked up. And Chi-Chi looked at me and said, "What did you just do?" And my response literally was, "I just figured it out." All 3 of them got hit with that metaphysical wave. And the response was uniform throughout the room. All 3 reacted the exact same way. And at that moment, I knew that I had actually figured it out and how to kind of use it. So, with a lot of trial and error. Literal years of trying to figure it out. And then I got to hang out with some really, really weird people. We'll just call them that. for disclosure purposes and actually discuss with them things of this level and confirm that I was on the correct path. I might not be right, but I was at least headed in the right direction at the time, which allowed me to just keep pushing forward. So anyway, now that the blunts roll, let's get back to what the fuck we were doing.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into.
So, another guaranteed Joe the Engineer vocal mixing tactic, especially with somebody with thick vocals, is somewhere between 900 and 1200. I'm going to scoop out because that is the same place that the presence of the snare hits. It's not going to affect the vocals enough for you to really tell, but what it's going to do is scoop out a space in the center frequency that's pumping the whole time, that's going to allow the snare to be heard without having to push the snare now. So the real question is, am I right? Oh, it's 13, a little bit past 12 on this one. Close, but you get the point. It's usually, I always say usually, between 9 and 12. It was 13, it should have been 1333. I will tell you a secret, and it's not really a secret now that I'm going to tell you. If I'm entering numbers, or if I'm sliding an element within a plugin along a frequency range, and I get close to a sacred number, I'm just going to change it to the sacred number. So if I did something and it came out to like 526 on the EQ, I'm definitely changing that to 528. I'm always going to aim for the sacred circle of sound if possible. I'm always going to use the math when possible because the math is never wrong. Math is the only universal language.
My confidence.
So definitely back in this time period, early on in the album mixing, I was using this exciter a lot, but not a whole lot. 0.9 on the drive and only 39% in the mix.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft.
Now it's time to compress it. This was the first time that I started using the H-Comp, which is now my favorite one. Something that I do back then that I don't do now is I use this analog knob a lot. And it was just an analog saturator that's held within this comp, and it would take the compressed frequencies, the compressed sections, and then add some saturation to them and whatnot. And I used this a lot back then. But nowadays I don't really use that at all. I turn it off and just go with more organic, a little bit less saturation on the compression itself. Because modern day music the vocals are so thin right now that no matter what I like to do, I still have to kind of make things sound kind of like what's going on nowadays.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat.
I mean, it's ironic that everything that we do is threes, because I was always taught by my mentor that, you know, when vocal compression is happening, it should kind of dance around 3. It'll never just hit 3, but ideally it should, whatever compressor it is, it should kind of dance around 3, and that was always the rule. And that mentor happened to do a couple Roots albums and 2 Beyonce albums and DMX and a million other different things. So when he talked, I listened. And if that's what he said to do, I'm not going to argue with that. Look at all the shit that you do. Look at your clients. Of course I'm going to do what you do. I'm not stupid. But the rule of 3 is it should always bounce around 3, especially when recording into Pro Tools, Logic, you know, whatever it is that you record vocals into. Compression going to tape is what they used to call, and now it's to disc. But compression going in should only literally bounce at 3. You should not be over compressing going in, because if you over compress going in, now you have this compressed chunk that you have to work with to mix, and you want something clean and lively to work with, and then you can compress it in the mix if you really have to. You don't want just a brick given to you. If you have to create the brick, you allow the mixing engineer to do that. If you're tracking, it's just an edge. You're taking the edge off. You're not squashing vocals when you're tracking them in. Just taking the edge off. It's always the rule of 3.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab.
The ratio was 3 on the dot. That's hilarious. I'm big on having my attack really short on compression, because I don't want too much of an edge coming through before the compression happens, because I don't over compress. Now, if I were to over compress, I would probably have the attack way later, so more of the edge can come through. But I don't over compress, so therefore my attack is always very short, like very, very short, like somewhere between 1 and 3 usually. And it's going to be quick because I'm not squashing it so much. I'm just kind of nudging it. So I want it to happen immediately. Well, almost immediately. I want the very front edge of each phrasing and transient to get through before it starts to get squashed down. And then the punch knob is dope because this will allow you to add a little bit of volume, size-wise, not loudness, but volume, filling in the space of your main vocals. And again, everything is subtle. It's only 1.1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 knobs and a couple buttons on this alone. There's 8 different opportunities for you to change things. That's 8 layers within one plugin. It all doesn't have to be done in one. My style is to do subtleties in multitudes of layers instead of having it all done in one thing. So I'm big on the Pultecs. Here they're called Putecs, but the Pultecs, again, I barely even used this at all. I just like running in the vocals through it to grab the sound of this plugin and unit. All I did with this one is scoop out. That's what attenuation is. I attenuated a little bit, just 1 dB at 3 hertz, 3000 hertz. Just scooped out a little bit, and more just added this plugin into the chain because I wanted the sound.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time.
Makes it a little bit sharper and warmer at the same time, but more sharper than warm by just running it through this and not really boosting too much and changing it too much. Once again, it's a Michael Brower tactic of running things through a piece of gear just to get that piece of gear on the chain and not... Alright, so I know everybody always asks me, why do I compress before I EQ? Typically, everyone always EQs before they compress. I do it in reverse, and I always have, because I want to shape the vocals before I go in and surgically go alter things. I feel like the EQ is more of a finite control, and you can do sharper, more precise things within an EQ than you can with compression. So I don't want to go in and sharply cut something or boost it and then go compress it afterwards to where it's going to nudge my peak down or bring the scoop that I dug out up. I want those scoops to be finite and definitive. And if I compress afterwards, it's going to alter the scoops and small things that I do within the EQ. So that thought process to me made me switch them. And on vocals, I have always done it backwards. So I always compress first, EQ second. I know it's weird, but there is a method to my madness. I just don't do things just to do them. So if you go into... back to the EQ that I used. Alright, so you see this. especially since I'm using sacred frequencies. This is the main reason. Not only am I using sacred frequencies within the sacred circle of sound, 635 hertz, head chakra, beaming for it. I am also going to be using sacred math within that. And on this one, I use 7 because I was a little bit juvenile on my journey. And now I would guarantee that I'm putting 1.6138 because that's the golden ratio. So I'm going to put 1 point. The boost of the sacred frequency is going to be 1.613. 8 if you can get another. So I felt like if I'm going to be using such finite math, and it's going to be 1.6138, that if I compress afterwards, it's not 1.6138 anymore. It's actually going to be brought down. Or if it's just a small subtlety, it's going to be pulled up farther than I want it. So in order to avoid having to add another EQ into the chain just so that I could do the sacred math and frequency induction is what I call it, I flipped the compression and EQ in my chain so that I wouldn't have to add another EQ so that it wouldn't alter the frequency induction. That's why. I hope that makes sense, homie. But that's literally why I do that. Knowing that the frequency induction is the main component of what I'm working with and my main focus, I can't have that altered by having the compressor fuck with it if I'm using sacred math. So to avoid doing that, compress first, frequency boost with the exact ratios that you want to use in the exact math second. And now I don't have to add a second EQ in just to do that. So that's why.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into.
So, time to add some ROA excitement. Not too much. Always 0.67, not even up to 1. Subtleties, but as always, the key is going to be in this noise knob. Now with P's vocals, I typically end up somewhere between 9 and 13. I'll close my eyes and play with the slider and feel it out. And every time I would be like, all right, that's it. That's exactly where I need that to be at. It was always between 9 and 13. So remember, we're using this RO exciter to manipulate the back end of P's vocals. Not so much the front presence, but it's more the second and third layers of P's vocals. So if you want to hear what's happening when you're doing something as subtle as this, you really have to be able to hone into the smallest thing amongst noise when you're listening. And that's the greatest skill of a mixing engineer is can you dial into something while other things are going on and really focus. So this using something, this plugin for what I do and being able to actually hear it within the mix would be why you're doing it is some 10 year down the road of working all the time shit, but it is achievable. And once again, what do I always say? Use the plugin for what it does, not what it says it does. This just says it's a noise knob. That's not what it does when you turn that knob. So I use it for what it does.
My confidence is up.
Now, since it is an RO exciter and its main focus is on harmonics on the upper end and very subtle, it's going to make it brighter no matter how much you add. So you always have to think about that. And then once you add just enough of it, then you start fucking with the noise knob and you can really dial in where those harmonics are placed within the vocals. I think that's a better explanation of what that knob does.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into.
Reverb.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab. coming up with.
So when I'm selecting how much reverb to use on vocals, what I always think about is if they were performing this song, what is the visual of their performance? Like, what type of place is the ideal setting for this performance? And then try to add that space. And that's how I pick a reverb.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into.
Alright, so now you know that Pro Tools sounds better out of a bus, so clearly P's vocals are being sent out to bus 5 and 6. Bus 5 and 6 is going to be our vocal bus. On the vocal bus, always use the same two things. On this one I didn't, so yeah, I said it and instantly regretted it by looking at the two that I actually used. I put a de-esser on this bus, and I know why. I should have actually put the de-esser on the doubles and not on the bus, because when I added in the doubles, there was some S and sibilance issues. So to tame it, I put it on the bus instead. I know now, I remember. And then trash with the delicate harmonics setting. Again, it's just about delicacies.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab.
This style button right here, this style knob, is the key on this trash when you're using it on vocals and you want to use this saturation element. It's all about this style thing. This is, to explain it the way that I explained the last one, this saturation slider allows you to place the saturation at certain places within the vocals. So it's just not you turn it on, it's there. You could turn it on, control how much saturation, and then kind of place it where you want in that frequency range in each word. So if you're going to saturate, you might as well control where the fuck you put it at.
My confidence is up. I believe it all.
9 and 10 is our harmonics bus. I'm big on this Maserati harmonics engine. I love this shit. We'll see if I pushed it enough to even affect the meter.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft.
And then tape delay, because, you know, tape delay is fucking dope.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time.
And now his vocals are literally just sitting right in the center, and they're staying within the pocket. And that's the whole fucking point of all of this. So you go from
my confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab.
Now don't get me wrong, his vocals sound great completely raw because they were recorded well with good equipment. And Pete knows what he's doing, knew what he was doing, so there was no... It's going to be professionally done at the highest of levels. But we still got to make it sound dope. This is album music, so...
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul.
One by one.
I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat and one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life, and I'ma live this shit. So what's up? Don't get your head bust up. You in my way, young brother.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers, 8 levels of alteration, right? And within each level of alteration, there are multiple points in which you can affect that level of alteration. So realistically, within those 8 points, there's probably 200 and some tiny little alterations in some way in order to chip and chisel and sand away and get those vocals to be nice and
My
round.
confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat and one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life, and I'ma live this.
And you can hear it the entire way through. All of those breaths are so well controlled, so well maintained. P wasn't a heavy breather in the first place, but as with our previous lessons, you can see it. There was a breath, there was one, there was one, there was one, there was one, there was. You can see them because I went and grabbed them. See? This is how the breasts aren't even that big to start with at all. But I still, just small control. What about this one? How big is this one? A little bit bigger. Small control. Still have the breath there so you don't lose the ambience of that space in the vocals, but I compress it down. I literally will go through, go to Audio Suite, go to Dynamics. I always use the SSL compressor to do it. Go to the compressor, turn your makeup down, threshold all the way down, attack all the way down, and then you render it, and you end up compressing the breath instead of eliminating it completely. Eliminating it sounds stupid, and sometimes they're just too loud. Especially after a long phrase, that breath is going to be very, very loud and present. And I don't like that shit. I think it's unprofessional to hear a bunch of breaths within vocals. You know, it's very tedious work indeed. But if you want to be good at your job, these are the types of things that you must be patient enough to do. You must be patient enough to go through and put drum layers and move them on every single drum to make sure they all hit. You must be patient enough to go through and grab each breath and compress it properly, and then listen to make sure that it's not too much and that it's still not heard too much. I mean, I knew what we were trying to do with this album. I didn't care how long it took or how many steps it took. I was going to do everything necessary in order to achieve what the goal was. So it didn't matter, and Pete gave me all the time it took. He knew what I was trying to do. I explained it to him the entire time, like, look, this is what I'm going to try to achieve with this, so just, you're going to have to be a little bit patient with me. I basically explained to him, like, every moment in my life is led up to this. So you have to let it happen. And he did.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab.
Adding in the doubles is really, when you're doing doubles, it's about the amount of compression that you add into the double itself. So, did I just use the filter? I used a little bit of the EQ, not too much. You see I bumped a little. If you're doing doubles, I always take the presence of the doubles down. So the lower end, I'd take it, see, around 300. Like we said, it was rated 310, obviously. And bring it down a little bit because I don't want that double to be heard so much. It's more about being felt. And then just a little bit alter it, a little bit of boost on the upper end, and then filter it out some. EQ 950 and 392 sacred frequencies. It's all about the compression though, because you're trying to make the double just fit. They're supposed to kind of feel like one but not feel like one at the same time.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time.
Now, on this particular track, I pushed the doubles up more than I would because it felt like a call to arms. it felt like we were about to like form an army or something listening to this, how the beat goes and everything. So I wanted the doubles to be a little bit more present, like there was another version of P like yelling in the background a little bit, like you were kind of at a rally. This is the mentality. These are all the types of things that I was thinking of. It's like, this is like, especially this was literally, this song was put out and created around the last election, what is 5 years ago at this point, but 4 years ago when Trump won. So it was like all these rallies and whatnot were happening and all these things going on and these riots and, you know, demonstrations and whatnot. So I tried to make it feel like what was going on with what little bit I had to work with. So just even the doubles on vocals on one song, I really thought about the approach to just that and how I was going to do just that and make it work within the construct of the story that is being told and the feeling of the track itself. And then also the socio-political environment and climate that had been created, knowing when we were going to release this song and what was actually happening. It also, I mean, it kind of like sparked the idea, like, well, this is what's going on. Well, this song feels like that soundtrack, so how do I make this song sound more like that? And that was the whole approach. When I try to explain to you guys that there was literally no stone unturned. There was literally not one single aspect that wasn't thought of and considered until decisions were made. Literally every second, every word, every syllable, every sound, every single thing was done with deliberation, executed with intent, and then polished with a vision in mind. So everything was thought about and discussed. It wasn't like I just did things on my own. Me and Pete would sit there and talk about it. And I'd be like, yo, I got this idea. You know, I kind of want to do this. And he'd be like, yeah, that's fucking dope. And then just let me do it and see if it worked. And the key is always to make it feel like it was supposed to be there. It's not like I added something. It was just supposed to be there. I just did what it called for it, and I answered. That's how I look at it. So that was my approach to that. I hope that makes sense. When we do these sessions where I explain what I'm doing, I really, really hope that the shit makes sense. Because I am explaining what I did, but sometimes I don't know if it's coming across. Because sometimes when I get done saying something, I think to myself, wow, that was a lot of stuff at once. So
my confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the...
I mean, I always told every artist that I work with, if I'm producing a song for them or something, and we're trying to write, we'll play the beat, and I'll be like, all right, if you were watching a movie and this song came in the background, what scene is told? What's the story told during that scene? And then that's how we approach writing, because you kind of have to encapsulate the feel of something. And I try to approach the storytelling aspect even to mixing. It's just like, all right, what story are we trying to tell with this? What mood are we trying to convey? What tone are we trying to set? What are we really trying to achieve with this? Well, what we were trying to achieve was that rally feeling. So that's what it was all about. And, you know, put it all together and you shake it all about.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into.
So it's interesting because if you listen to P's vocals soloed with his doubles,
my confidence is up. I believe with all my soul.
Those delays that I added sound really, really present. Well, it's because it's naked. If you listen to that same section with everything playing, you barely even hear just a few bumps of that delay. You don't hear all of it. And, you know, I wouldn't typically sit here and just mix the vocals soloed and try to shape them. I'm always going to try to shape them inside of the beat already. It'll be dope to... I gotta do somebody's vocal session at some point and show you guys the method as I'm doing it, how I get there, instead of just explaining it afterwards and trying to get this compressed into 2 hours.
My confidence is up.
Anyway, those delays are really present. Not when the music's there.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft.
So those delays that sounded so present and whatnot while they were solo are now completely buried. But again, even with the vocal delays on these, I wouldn't normally push them that much. I usually use delays on the vocals in order to create the other dimension, the space dimension. But in this one, I wanted even another layer of P's chanting and saying everything. So it could really seem like there's as many as, kind of like P says, there's like, you know, it's like an army.
My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat and one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life, and I'ma live this shit. So what's up? Don't get your head bust up. You in my way, young brother. Get out my way, young brother, or I'ma run you down. You should've accepted my offer. Brush me off like it's nothing. I understand, no, it's okay. Run along now, you interrupting. The illest rap still active. More dope than all of my past shit. I was just a boy, I was only 19, but my mind be on some more next shit.
So you can see these vocals, the automation just jumping. So much going on, and once again, that's the patience aspect. You must have the patience of a Buddhist monk in order to make music on the technical side. Because I will go through and hit play and have the verse on loop and change a couple and listen to it again, and it'll just be on loop, and I'll go and keep changing the automation bars, changing what I'm writing, just altering it step by step by step by step. Tori Weary, what up, G's? Just changing it. One of these, moving this one out, it was 1 dB, like just up, and I'll have that on loop, and it might take me an hour to write the automation just for one verse. I don't care. I don't care if it takes 2. A, if you're getting paid enough to do it, you do whatever the fuck it takes. But B, if what you're doing, if you care about it, if it's important enough, you're going to take the time to do it because your name is on this project. They see your name and it's dope. Nobody knows how much it took to get to that. But if you don't do what is necessary to get to that point, then it won't be dope. And that's the whole point. Like, nobody is supposed to know as an engineer, especially, that you did anything. They'll just be like, this sounds great. Awesome. That's it. Nobody's ever going to listen to a song and be like, wow, man, that fucking cymbal during the second verse comes in and it's just right in the right fucking place, dude. No one will ever say something like that to you. It's either dope or it's not. That's all you get. So you have to understand that getting into this, that's it. It's yes or no. Thumbs up, thumbs down, you live or you die. That's it. There's nothing in between. Nobody's ever going to appreciate all the subtleties that you did. No one's going to appreciate the 8 billion steps it took for you to get there. None of that shit. They just, if it's dope, it's dope. And that's all you're going to get. And eventually, that's all it takes. It's like, that'll do, pig. That's all it takes. Thanks, dude. Thanks, farmer guy.
Leave with all my soul.
So now we get to the hook. We'll go to the second hook. So It's separated into 2 parts, each with 2 layers. Since it's like,
Race don't matter. Your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter.
so I had P do lots of layers, and honestly, if my memory serves me correct, which I'm having a flash right now, I didn't even tell P that I used 4 layers on this. I think that I just used a couple takes, or I thought to myself, he's never going to want to do 4. I'm just going to tell him that this take wasn't good enough and have him do another one, which I would do, knowing that I'm going to want 4 layers on this one to really beef up the hook, and knowing that P is only going to want to do 2 layers on the hook. I would literally tell him, no, do another one. And he'd be like, all right. Because there's no point in me wasting time trying to explain to him what I'm going to do when I already have freedom to do whatever's necessary. So I would literally be like, yeah, that was, do another one. And he'd do another one. And then eventually I'd get another one out of him. And then I'd have 4 layers to work with, where he only thought I was using 2. Go and mix it, make the 4 sound proper. He has no idea, and he never had any idea that I did that, nor that when he was doing those other takes that I already had what I needed, that I was just having him do other takes because I wanted him to do more. He had no idea that was happening. I mean, honestly, in order to get the job done, he didn't need to know. He didn't care. Rigo, I could have explained it to him, be like, yo, P, can I get like 2 more of those so that I can do this? He'd have been like, yeah, whatever. I am always more focused on the booth momentum. Once a good take happens and things start getting going in there, let's not stop the momentum. So in order to not stop the momentum and explain to him, oh, yo, this is why I want you to sit in that hot-ass booth and repeat what you just repeated 30 times, 2 more times for me, I would just say, let's do another one and just keep it moving. And let's do another one. And then when he comes out, don't even explain it. Go mix it later. Nobody needs to know. Nobody cares. Do whatever it takes. Clearly, H-Comp on everything. I was not using the FabFilter Pro yet. I hate it when I do that. It was later on in the mixing the album that I started using the FabFilter as the only EQ that I used on anything, and it's still the only one that I used.
Race don't matter. Your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter. You rich don't matter. You broke don't matter. The enemy, they threaten our liberties. All the other shit don't matter. Race don't matter. Your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny.
So since there were 4 layers, since I had created 4 layers essentially, knowing that the whole crowd aspect and rally aspect that I was aiming for on this one, especially with the picture that P picked for the single, with the little kid throwing the Mazel Tov at the police. It just felt like, all right, this is if that's the picture you want to use, you're setting the tone for this, so I'm just going to follow your lead, because after all, you are the captain of the ship. Normally, I would just put even the 2, I'm not a big fan of having 2 layers of vocals and putting one to the left and one to the right, because there's little subtle variances within the dynamics and phrasings that happen, and it's weird. It has this weird little flutter effect, and I don't like that shit. So essentially, I would just bust them out to an aux bus and just put them right on top of each other and mix between the 2. But since I have 4 of them, the whole thought process is, well, now I can do both. And I layered the first 2 in the center.
Race don't matter. Your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit.
And then put the other 2 wrapped around them all the way, and then put the other 2 back down, because I wanted that to kind of sound like the crowd effect.
Race don't matter. Your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter.
I mean, you can try. Even Cash, even Eminem. You can try to have another take sound literally 1,000,000% exactly like the other one, but there will be subtle, little tiny subtleties and variances and dynamics and whatnot. Just the smallest little micro changes that even the best editor, mixer, or whatnot can't get them to all sound exactly on top, because what happened in this phrase or this word, the little subtle tiny spark, when you go and fix that in that one, it may create another one further down the line that wasn't there before, and you're never going to clear out all of them. So the guitar's all in the 2-track. All I did is multiple layers of plugins in order to... I essentially would use just one plugin to go and control that itself.
Race don't matter, your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter. You rich don't matter, you broke don't matter. The enemy, they threaten our liberties. All the other shit don't matter.
So, essentially, that's how you journey from some raw vocals, a very naked 2-track loop. You eventually find some skits and whatnot, and then you get rid of what you had as an intro. You do a whole bunch of vocal editing. You listen to it 8 billion times in a row as you press buttons and turn knobs, and you turn that into what you know. And if I hadn't told you all the shit it took me to get this record, just this 2-track loop and one layer of P vocals, essentially, to turn it into a rallying cry anthem type of feel, this is all the shit that it took me. Now, I was able to explain it in an hour and a half. Literally, on the dot, an hour and a half. It probably took me I don't know, 20 or 30 hours to mix this record solidly. Like from front to beginning, every single aspect. Thinking about like every execution of editing the vocals to all the shit that I had to do probably actually took 20 to 30 hours a week. It's almost an entire work week to get what we started with into this.
No, this is not a Hollywood blockbuster. The planes crashing into these towers are real. And these buildings crashed to the ground, including one that wasn't hit by anything at all. The American population was terrorized, hypnotized, and traumatized by repetitive showings of the devastation, with the media repeating over and over that it was a terrorist attack.
Yeah. My confidence is up. I believe with all my soul. I could do anything that I put my heart into. I spend all of my time focused in the lab, coming up with these songs, mastering my craft. Cause I'ma need that boat and one of them aircrafts. God gave me a life, and I'ma live this shit. So what's up? Don't get your head bust up. You in my way, young brother. Get out my way, young brother, or I'ma run you down. You should've accepted my offer. Brush me off like it's nothing. I understand, no, it's okay. Run along now, you interrupting. The illest rap is still active. More dope than all of my past shit. I was just a boy, I was only 19, but my mind be on some more next shit. Race don't matter, your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter. My confidence like armor. I know with all my being that I could do anything. I just work hard and I achieve it. Now watch me create money for the next 300 years, so my great grandkids will eat food off of these words I'm saying here. Yeah, I wrote this with you in mind. I'm so far ahead of my time. My body will never catch up to where my brain is at. Sometime I gotta slow down and pace myself. I'm going too much over your head. My school of thought like the Essenes, and some secrets are best kept sacred. It's one big religious war with these old books. Who's wrong or right? Who cares? Wake up, they diverting our attention to what's really going on right here, right now. Toxic food is causing cancer, you don't have to smoke. Toxic politicians, the system is rigged, but go ahead and vote. Race don't matter, your faith don't matter. The enemy is government tyranny. All that other shit don't matter. You rich don't matter, you broke don't matter. The enemy, they threaten our liberties. All the other shit don't matter.
And at the end, you had to make sure that the fades on the drum itself also coincided with the fade on the loop. Now, the few last things to talk about on this one is this sample, the skit from the North Korea propaganda film. In order to, I didn't just let it play straight through. I cut it and placed it within the intro itself.
No, this is not a Hollywood blockbuster. The planes crashing into these towers are real. And these buildings crashed to the ground, including one that wasn't hit by anything at all. The American population was...
It wasn't that hard, but just making sure that all of them were just timed, especially with those bass hits, that whenever we started, without all of this,
the planes crashing into these towers are real. And these buildings crashed to the ground, including one that wasn't hit by anything at all.
those bass hits, I wanted to kind of dance around those, because after we allow what was done to happen, they actually happen. Now, even within just the sample itself, there was some EQing done. Sacred frequency poked in there at 635, see, at 1.6 dB, because this one only allowed me 1 decimal place, so I just left it at 1.6. Shelved off the top end of that at 1.6 again, so that it wouldn't be so harsh. And then just use this one knob function that makes it a little bit fatter.
No, this is not a Hollywood blockbuster. The planes crashing into these towers are real.
And all it did is, for her voice, you can feel the bottom end of her voice a little bit better. And this was just a one knob thing. It's just literally turn the knob, it just does what it says. But again, under one, so not a whole lot, but just enough to do what I needed, so that her voice wasn't so high, and compared to P's.
No.
And the last thing that I was going to talk about on this one is, I don't actually remember what it was at all. But that is how I did this one, essentially. Oh, okay. So the individual layer or level of the doubles on P's vocals, how I decided exactly where I wanted each one to be, because it wasn't uniform, is every time I hear this song, it still just happens, that's how it reminded me of it, is I can see P, like, not really rapping these vocals, but like at a rally projecting these vocals, right? And every time that there is a double, I can see, like, just out of the ether, another version of him come in and say this from some angle, like the good and the bad, or one of them saying it. And I chose at which level to put each one, as how loud that person would come in and say that around his main vocals with them. How present would that voice be? And that's what's the last thought. I forgot to explain that as I was explaining how I went through there and write the automation, but that's essentially how I chose on this one in particular, because this one was its own beast. This one was a rallying cry. That was the point of this one. So it had to be mixed and executive produced essentially with that in mind. Now, As If and, songs like that, Broken Apple, Microcosm, those were completely different approaches. Now, I do approach every mix with the same scientific mind, but I never approach any of them with the same creative mind the same. Each one is its own creative entity and must be approached as if there's not just button, I'm going to hit this, that makes the mix sound good. I'm not a preset guy. Each one has its own feel, its own story, its own visual that is created in your brain when you hear it. Knowing that happens, you as a mixing engineer have the power to dictate what that visual is if you do your job correctly. And as an executive producer, you can get everybody, or almost not everyone's going to see the same shit, but generally you can get everybody kind of on the same page, and that will make it more widely accepted and more viral essentially. And that's one of the goals. It's a lot more to this shit than just making this knob go here and this one go here. Once you really get into what this science is and know that it is science, it's math, physics, and science. That's all this is. You're just playing with sound and numbers. The numbers are just interpreted by your ears. That's it. Once you understand that, then you can start to grasp how to manipulate these numbers, how to make the math happen in your favor and how you want it to. And then it becomes less turning knobs and more, I'm going here and doing this because I know exactly what this is going to do when I do this, and this is what I want it to do. It's a whole lot less. So yes, science stems, you are correct. It's called engineering for a reason. And I always thought it was odd until I decided to call myself engine and ear, because it just made sense. You are the engine behind the ear, behind the sound. You are the engine as an engineer. But technically, mathematically, and scientifically, you are an engineer. If you really, really dig into the deepest levels of this, you are a scientist. You are a lab technician, and you are an engineer. It just is dope that our medium of choice happens to be rap music and blunts. So, I appreciate everybody coming through. I got nothing left for you on this one. It wasn't that difficult because it was just a 2-track, but in order to manipulate this 2-track into something much more than a 2-track, there was a lot of work done. It did not take a lot to explain this. There will be other songs, especially ones by Beat Butcher, where there's 20 layers in the production, and those ones are going to be 3-hour long behind the mix sessions. But, so next week, I don't know if we're going to be doing a behind the mix session because it is our beat battle for the theme song. So everybody who wants to participate in the theme song battle, it's free this month. Just let me know if you don't have the packs yet, the loops that I want you to use. The snares, that's just a gift from me. You don't have to use any of them. I don't fucking care. There's 6,000 snares in that pack. That's from me to you, for you guys continuing to support and fuck with me while I sit here and smoke blunts and make rap music. As far as the parameters for the contest, there are none. You can rap, you can do anything, I don't care. I gave you a small pack of samples so that you could possibly use them. There are no rules, you don't have to. It'd be dope if you do. Those are kind of like the samples that I had in my mind when I wanted a theme song. I just, this is more fun. Who knows, we might get 5 theme songs out of this. Might end up using all of them. But there are no rules. There are no parameters. Make a theme song. That's it. Make a new theme song. That's it. That's it. You can make 10 of them. I don't care. We're hunting for a new theme song. So the more entries, the broader the talent pool is going to be, the better chance we're going to come up with something outrageous for. But that was country as fuck outrageous. Jesus, Lord have mercy. The West Virginia pops out of me every once in a while, people. But this is essentially season 2. I mean, we're kind of halfway through season 2, but it would be dope to have another theme song. Anyway, it's hot. I want to turn on the AC in here. I don't do it while I'm streaming because it would be too fucking loud. I did just get done playing golf, hence my outfit right before I jumped in and live streamed. I haven't eaten. I'm high. I need to shower. This is awesome, though. This has been fun. I do love doing these behind the mixes. They are going to be at the end of Beat Boutiques until we get through this album. I'm not posting anything about it. I'm not here to try to get people to come watch and, you know, grow this channel in any way or anything like that. I don't charge for this. I'm showing you guys how I did this because that's why we're all here in the first place. This album brought you guys to me because you want to know who the fuck did this. Well, I'm the guy who did this. And since you guys have been supporting me for the last year and a half on YouTube, and, you know, I fucks with the 333. Otherwise, I wouldn't have built this space. This is, you know, my gift to you guys is I'm going to show you how the fuck I did this. And I'm only going to show you guys. I really don't care if anybody else sees. So, it's Thursday. So I'll see you guys Saturday night for RIP TV. I have no idea what the theme song is going to be. Until then, I will be mixing things, but not on live. So I will not see you until Saturday night unless something pops up and I decide to go on for any particular reason. But I doubt it because the things that I need to do are for the fucks. And I can't do that live. So I appreciate everybody coming through and fucking with me, watching me smoke blunts, and try to explain exactly how it is that I made Tyranny what it is from what it started as. Until then, RIPP 333. I ain't got no new theme song yet, and I'm not going to play the good fight right now because I'm done. I'm going to go do some other shit. So I appreciate everybody. You know it. Where is my Google Chrome so I can get out of here? Until next time, I'll see you guys then. More than likely, probably do a request, at least a request hour on RIP TV. So figure out what songs you want to hear, and then I got you.